But when you stop apologizing, you respect yourself more, other people will respect you more, and you deserve self-respect, and you deserve for other people to respect you as well.
Hello, and welcome to Learn to Love You, a channel and a community where I want to help you to learn to love yourself, because learning how to do so has changed my life.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Learn to Love You. If this is your first time here, welcome to Learn to Love You. And if you're returning, welcome back. It's great to see you again. So today's episode is going to be for those who apologize about anything and everything under the sun. From apologizing about the way that you feel, to apologizing about reaching out to others, to apologizing about just simply existing and breathing. Now this video is not meant to shame anyone who does this, but rather to be used as a tool or a stepping stone in order to help you develop into your higher self and cure this people-pleasing tendency. So I used to be the type of person who would apologize to anyone about absolutely anything, from the way that I felt, to apologizing about asking questions, to apologizing about just simply reaching out to the person and asking how their day was because I felt like I was bothering them. And if you're anything like how I was, then you're in the right place today. Looking back, I realized that my incessant apologizing came from three main things. 1. Insecurity in who I was. 2. Constant overthinking. And 3. Trauma. Before we take a look at the 3 points that I listed, I want you to understand that I'm not here to pass judgment among anyone who might resonate with this. I understand that many people have a tendency to do this, and it's only something that needs to be healed, worked on, and changed. And that's what we're here to do today. And on average, I've noticed this behavior coming from a lot more women in my life than men in my life. And I feel like it's due to the way that we were socialized as women. I'm not saying that men don't have this tendency as well, but I've realized that it's far more prevalent in people who are socialized as women. Because as women, we were typically programmed to be passive and polite at all times, and if we weren't, then we were seen as rude or not classically trained, or something was wrong with our upbringing. And sure, manners are very important to have, and I know that no one wants to go to dinner with someone who can't keep their mouth closed when they're chewing, but I feel like in recent times we've confused manners with passivity. And this has caused so many people to feel like they have to always be sorry if they're not extremely kind or extremely attentive to other people. Now I want you to understand that there's a time and a place to use the words "I'm sorry." If you really hurt someone, if you made a terrible accident, if you obviously offended someone, these are all great times to use those words. But a lot of the times we use the words "I'm sorry" when there's really no reason to use those words, and it takes away from the genuine impact that those words can have when we actually need to use them. It's just like the boy who cried wolf, but instead it's the person who cried "I'm sorry." Imagine someone always said to you, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," and then a situation came up where you actually needed an apology from this person, and they said, "I'm sorry." How genuine would that apology feel? But not to fret, we are in the right place today. We are here to unlearn this behavior and in turn become more genuine in our relationships and have a better relationship with ourselves in the process. So let's go back to the 3 points that I listed earlier, and let's see if your constant apologetic tendencies come from one of these 3 things. Looking back, I realized that I was always apologizing because I was operating from a place of insecurity. And you might be doing the same thing. You might have insecurities around your emotions, so you apologize to other people about the way that you feel. You might have insecurities around not being able to do something by yourself, and so you apologize to others for asking for help. You might feel insecure about having different thoughts, ideas, or beliefs about something, so you apologize to other people that your ideas are not like theirs. But when you apologize about things like this, you're in turn apologizing about who you are and invalidating your experiences in the process. And this is not at all an act of self-love. But I want you to understand that every time that you apologize about who you are not taking yourself seriously, and in turn you are disrespecting yourself. And if you disrespect yourself in front of other people by always apologizing, that just opens the door for them to disrespect you and invalidate you for the same things. When you apologize for your emotions and feelings, you're telling yourself and other people that your emotions should not be taken seriously. When you apologize for asking for help, you're signaling to yourself and other people that you're not worthy of receiving that help. When you apologize for your thoughts, ideas, and beliefs, you're signaling to yourself and other people that your thoughts, ideas, and beliefs are not valid ones that should be taken any consideration in. And the reason that you keep apologizing for all these things is because deep down you feel a sense of unworthiness. You feel like you're unworthy of experiencing these things or having these things. But I want you to know that as a human, you have a right to feel the way that you feel. You have a right to express your emotions and your ideas and your beliefs and believe whatever you want to believe. You have a right to ask for help. And if you did not harm someone else in the process of doing any of these things, then there's no reason to apologize for it. Because the more that you stop apologizing and start validating yourself for experiencing these things, other people are naturally going to start respecting you for having these beliefs or these ideas, or for feeling the way that you feel, or for asking for help, because they'll see that you're staying true to yourself and you're coming from a genuine place. So on to point number 2. Your constant apologizing might come from your tendency to constantly overthink situations. Now, I used to be a wild overthinker. I would create so many scenarios in my head. I would overthink every word I said. I would replay the interaction in my mind several times, wondering if people were upset with me, wondering if they were mad at me, when in reality the situation was cool and no one was hurt, but it was just all in my head. And this is a very valid tendency to have, because a lot of the times people don't really often communicate the way that they feel right away after we've said something or done something. So we get in our heads about it. We're like, maybe I offended this person, maybe they didn't tell me, and the overthinking starts from there. And what do we tend to say when things are not communicated and we have the slightest feeling that a person might be upset with us when we have no clear evidence? That's right, we use those 2 words that we're trying not to use. And of course, it is so important that we apologize to other people when we've offended them or when we hurt their feelings, but so much of the time we overthink ourselves to death, wondering if we may have hurt someone, to the point where we can't sleep at night. We literally stay up in bed all night, tossing and turning, wondering if this person is upset with us, and replaying the interaction in our minds, losing all of the peace inside of us, because we're wondering, maybe I hurt this person. Does this sound familiar? I know it does, because I've been there too. But something I realized is that in most cases when I've apologized to someone about something that I think I've done, they're always like, huh? Either they forgot all about it, they didn't even pick up on it to begin with, they didn't hear it, or it just went way over their head, or they were never offended by it in the first place. Now, growing up as a girl, I've had plenty of negative experiences with old girlfriends. And if you mostly had girlfriends growing up, you might understand the scenario that I'm about to get into. Now, there were times when hostility would build up in a friendship or a friend group and explode one day like a hurricane met a volcano out of nowhere, because no one communicated that there was a problem in the first place, and so no one knew to apologize for anything that was being done. And then drama would come out of nowhere because no one knew how to communicate properly, and no one knew how to express what was going on to begin with. So I understand that your tendency to overthink might come from interactions like those, and might come from the lack of communication from other people. But I want you to realize that you are not as bad as you think you are. And if you're a kind person, then people are going to pick up on that. And if you're not trying to do anything malicious, then people will most likely pick up on that too. And I feel like we overthink because we have this tendency to believe that other people are going to perceive that something we say or do is wrong, when in reality, most people are not going to. Some people will, of course, but most people are just going to be vibing and chilling and won't get offended by the things that you say or do. Unless you say something that is entirely out of pocket and inappropriate, then I don't think people are going to have a problem with what you say. And I want you to understand something important. You don't have to apologize to anyone until you have evidence that you have said or done something to offend them. And if someone gets mad at you for not apologizing when they never communicated to you that there was anything wrong in the first place, how are you supposed to know to apologize to begin with? So I say to save those apologies for when you actually know that you need to use them. And don't just use them when you think you should use them. Because in most cases, people are just going to be like, it's okay, bro. You're fine. And on to point number 3. You might be a constant apologizer because of trauma. Just like the example I brought up earlier with the girl drama, that was a trauma for me that I actually had to overcome. And I realized that a lot of my apologetic tendencies came from situations and traumas such as that one. I didn't want my new friends to blow up at me, so I would constantly apologize for things that I didn't even need to apologize for, so my friends wouldn't one day blow their tops and get angry at me for not apologizing. And I would also constantly apologize just so I would seem like a good or a nice person, and so they wouldn't get mad at me or have any reason to. And I grew to realize that I was using the words "I'm sorry" as a defense mechanism rather than as a genuine statement. However, as I healed a lot of things and I made friends with genuine people, I realized that I didn't have to always be sorry around the right people. And I realized that constant apologizing is not the key to get other people to like you either. And maybe there was a scenario in your past where you felt punished or abandoned by the people around you for saying things or doing things that they didn't like. So in order to protect yourself from being punished or abandoned again, you feel a need to constantly apologize to keep those people around you or to get them to approve of you. And maybe it felt hard to hear me say that, but for many people this is the case, and it was one of the reasons that I constantly apologized as well. However, I want you to realize that there won't always be people who will get angry with you, who will invalidate you, who will punish you, or who will abandon you. But I realize that if someone always makes you feel like you have to be apologetic with them, then there's something unhealed within them that they're trying to feel better about, and in order to mask their own void, they're trying to get you to always apologize to them to make them feel better about something inside. But don't give up hope, because there are so many people out there who are patient, healed, open-minded, and forgiving, and you won't always have to feel a sense of needing to apologize when you're with them. And the reality is that most people are not going to get offended by what you say or do because they just have more things to care about than what you say or do. That's just the reality of it. So just realize that you're doing great, and there's no reason to keep apologizing, especially if you did not harm anyone in the process of what you're doing. I want to leave you with this. One of the greatest ways that we can have a better relationship with ourselves and with other people is by being unapologetic and only using our sorries for when we actually need to use them. Because when you're unapologetic, this emits a power within you that conveys to other people that you're sure about yourself, you're sure about what you stand for, and you're sure about your experiences. And this will in turn make people respect you more. And being unapologetic is not a bad thing, and it does not mean that you never apologize. It means that you only apologize when you need to apologize, but you never apologize about who you are. And when you stop apologizing for everything, you actually give yourself a gift. You give yourself the gift of allowing yourself to exist as you are. You give yourself the gift of self-respect, and you give yourself the gift of self-recognition and validation. And since it's almost Christmas, that is a wonderful gift that you can give yourself this year. You don't need that new pair of shoes. You already got so many shoes in your closet. So give yourself the gift of self-recognition and validation instead this year. And when you give yourself this gift, you in turn tell yourself, I get to experience what I'm experiencing. I get to believe what I want. I get to be this person, and I don't have to apologize for it because I have a right to be me. And that is a way better gift than shoes. Am I right? Am I right? Tell me I'm right. So if you really have to say sorry, then say it. There's nothing holding you back. But remember what I said. Sometimes less is more, and sometimes less is genuine. But self-love is a quest. It's a never-ending journey that we must go on in order to have happier and healthier lives. So allow me to take this journey with you and allow me to be your guide along the way, and we will learn to love ourselves together, day by day, little by little, and piece by piece. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If it inspired you today, please give it a thumbs up and press the subscribe button down below. Also, make sure to check out the Learn to Love You podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever else you get your podcasts. It's linked in the description of this video. But when you stop apologizing, you respect yourself more, other people will respect you more, and you deserve self-respect, and you deserve for other people to respect you as well. But just remember that I believe in you, but I just want you to believe in yourself. I'll see you next time.